I'm Aidan Breen. I'm a silversmith specialising in chasing and repoussé. Chasing and repoussé are a means of decorating metal without, unlike engraving, you don't take any metal away. You just manipulate the metal. I work it from the front first with little punches. We make these punches ourselves. They're about 4 inches long and a little hammer. We draw on the design onto the metal, whatever design we want. We then trace it in with these punches. It's not tracing as such, it's putting a line in. You indentate the metal. We then take the metal off the pitch. We have it in pitch. The pitch allows it to it makes the metal malleable. It makes it solid so that if you were to work it without the pitch, it would dinge. But this makes the metal plastic. So we work it on one side first and then we turn it over and work it from the second side. That's the repoussé aspect of this technique. And then we take it back and then we redefine it and model it. I learned my trade in a place called M.H. Gill & Sons. They were on 56 Upper O'Connell Street, and they were a printers, publishers and a church furnishers. And I worked in the silver shop where we made chalices, monstrances, tabernacles, all the sacred vessels that were used in the church. That's where I served my time. I went in there to work as a messenger boy, and I used to draw and paint, and the boss in there saw some of my work, and there was an opportunity going as an apprentice to the silver chasing and repoussé trade, and they asked me would I be interested, and of course I said I would be interested. All my work is handmade. I start out with a piece of sheet silver that I buy in various shapes and sizes. I cut it. When I've cut it, I manipulate it. I may have it a flat piece, I may pierce it out to get a Celtic design, or I may turn it up into a bowl or a vase or a teapot. I fabricate all this and then I decorate it using the techniques of chasing and repoussé. Well, my inspiration comes from my heritage, from the material heritage of the early medieval period, which I am absolutely interested in, like the great treasures that come from that period, like the Ardagh chalice, the Tara brooch, all the artefacts that they found in various rivers, the Book of Kells, the stone crosses. And then I also like the Celtic Revival period, which actually I have a connection to because I worked in a firm that started out in the late 19th century, where this thing was in vogue, and I went in and I was part of this tradition that had been revived, and that really appeals to me. I also like the literature. I like James Joyce. I made a piece based on his book Ulysses. It was a 2-foot high sculpture, and around this sculpture what I'd done was a Moorish tower. The Moorish tower because Molly in the last episode talks about having a court or her first sexual experience up against a Moorish wall. And I said to myself, why not a Moorish tower wall? So when they commissioned me to do this, I said, I will do this. I will do this Moorish tower in a bed of blooms. And the blooms are some of the blooms mentioned in Ulysses, by no means all of them, because there's a PhD for somebody there who wanted to find out all the blooms that are mentioned in Ulysses. And I have this tower that's topped by the sun, and under the sun is a little potato that Leopold carried around with him all day. He kept the potato in his pocket for luck. He was a superstitious man. And around this tower I have illustrated 18 bricks, and on each brick there is a representation of my take on the episode in Ulysses. Well, the thing about it is that when I make a piece, I make it entirely by hand. So what I'm doing is I'm putting everything I can into the piece, no matter how big or so small, because I'm always aware that somebody is buying this off me for somebody special in their life. So I know that when they get this, it has a meaning for them, and I try to impart the best I can do in the time allowed. So what I'm giving you is a bit of myself, translated from my body into the piece. Well, you can purchase my work by coming out to see me personally, which I love. I love people who come out and pick a piece off me, because not only can they come out and pick the piece and have a look at the work I'm doing, but they can actually come into my workshop and see how the piece is actually made. But I also have retail outlets in Dublin. My work sells in McCormick's Jewellers in Grafton Street, and it sells in the Irish Celtic store in Nassau Street. And I also have a presence on Facebook where you can see some of the work, and you can contact me from there and come out and see me personally. I'll be only too delighted to see you. My email address is Aidan, Aidan, J, Breen, Aidan J Breen @aircom.net. If you give me a shout, you send me an email, I'll make contact with you and I'll be able to work something out with you. Failing that, you can, if you're in Ireland, you can visit me. My phone number is up there on the website. Or failing that, you can find me on the internet. My pieces are available in www.irishheart.com and at aidanbreen.wordpress.com.